If anybody were to hear this interview, this discussion, this chit chat, who would that person be? Who would you want to hear this broadcast?
God.
Wow. Why would you say that?
Well, because God sees all, but God is forgiving and
I would like you, could you tell us about returning citizens? People that come up for the first time. What is that? What does it feel like, or what is that about anyway? Returning citizens.
well, I don't like to use the word ex-con.
Mm,
That's why I choose to use returning citizen,
yeah.
because I guess, technically we are ex-cons, but that's an awful definition of somebody. I don't like that. I think it's degrading. So I use the term, and I'm a returning citizen. I'm returning to society. Why
Mm,
wouldn't we use that word? We're returning to adhere to all the rules of society and change. So let's not label an ex-con. I don't like it. I'm sure I've used it. Oh yes, I'm an ex-con, but I prefer returning
returning.
to society. It's kinder. It's more encouraging, and it sounds more productive.
Awesome. I mean, I found it very interesting when you spoke about, when you came out in society and you felt like you had prison stuck on your forehead. And I feel like definitely society can stigmatize people that have been in prison. So I believe that that's maybe where that could have even came from. Also, what is going to happen, or what are they going to think or say when they find out that I went to prison? Just that feeling of so how long did it take for that feeling to go, or for you to not feel that way?
You know what? In all honesty, it took about 5 years.
Wow.
You Everyone thinks they're going to walk out, and you're so grateful to walk out. I was so grateful to come home and see my family. Oh my goodness, there wasn't that was fantastic. But it's just not easy. You're just like, oh goodness, because you go to job interviews and they
Mm.
query you, and in my case, I was thrown out of several interviews. I was fired. I was fired from jobs because of my past. And so, you get a job and you're very excited and grateful. And then they say, could you come into the office? And you're hoping it's for a promotion. And then they pull your mug sheet and they're like, is this you? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's me. And they're like,
Mm.
oh, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to leave.
Mm.
So it's hard, and at some
Yeah.
point you hope that everyone forgives you, but you have to forgive yourself, and you have to hold your head up high and say, I made a mistake, but this is not me. And sadly, there are going to be people who don't forgive you, and there
Mm.
are going to be people who don't want to be near you because you went to prison, and
Mm.
that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's
Mm.
okay. That's all right. But
Yeah.
we just do the best we can, and you just at some point you have to let it go. But I decided to use my situation to help others. I don't want people to feel like that, and I do know how they feel. So hopefully I give them a little bit of promise. Or sometimes, I say, look through my eyes and see the potential. let me
That's
let me
awesome.
see the way for you until you can see it.
It's almost like, well, I did this or I went through this, but this is what I'm doing now. And I believe that screams and shouts a lot louder than the past.
Right,
I
exactly.
really do. Amazing that this is the work that you do. Um, to help people to integrate in society. I mean, I believe you spoke about the simple things. When you come out, things change. There could be new phones, technology changes daily. Even
Right,
money notes change. Like for,
true.
yeah, money notes change. Literally in the UK, we have new notes now. So you could come out and be like, "What's going on?" How do we? So they need, I believe, someone to be there to help them to recognize the things that we may think are small changes, but to them it's really a new world. Yeah. So what kind of questions do they ask you when they come out, or what is the, I guess, the biggest shock for you that you've had from a returning citizen that they've asked you?
I have to say that, you brought up phones. Well, I went in with a flip phone. When I came out, my family gave me this Apple phone and I threw it on the floor. I'm like, I'm swiping it. They're laughing at me. I'm like, I don't like this. Phones, I have to say that when I do pick up at the prisons, and when I pick someone up, believe it or not, they want something as simple as a Big Mac. And then they'll say, I can remember somebody picking them up and they're like, yes, this was 10 cents when I went in. Oh, goodness. The price has changed too. People just, I don't know, they want to be able to, most of the time they want to just be able to walk into a simple store, maybe a 7-Eleven or whatever. But just the ability to get in my car, can we go to the store? Can I get a soda? Some people say a pack of cigarettes, and I'll say, my God, you haven't smoked for 40 years. What do you want to smoke now for? And then I tell them the price. And they're like, what? So I'm like, well, we don't need to do that. But basically, it's usually we have a little celebration and we go to lunch. And it's difficult there. Most of my clients, when we get into the restaurant, they want to sit furthest in the back because they have anxiety and they want to sit facing the door. They don't want their back to the door. And that's a thing.
Yeah. Learnt behavior is so true, right? Because when I watch these documentaries about returning citizens, and I love the returning citizens, I really am going to be saying returning citizens from now on. I hear of people that still go and shower with trainers on, sneakers on, like you said, the positioning where they sit with their back, or their positioning, or where they're sitting towards the door, away from the door. So you're right, there are many learnt behaviors that people do come out with. And I welcome Carolina Christian, and he says, returning citizens, I like that, and it shows dignity and respect. Absolutely. That's why what you're doing is so awesome, because it's relatable. Sometimes when you're explaining something to somebody, the most powerful way for there to be some sort of breakthrough is because they've been through the same thing that you have been. So there's no judgment. It's like a safe space. You just know what you're speaking about. So when you say to them the first day I went into prison, they probably felt the same way as you. Do you understand? So I definitely do think that it's such a powerful position to be in. So Virtual Church Music says, how do you prepare returning citizens to handle the pressures of negative people or those who might try to condemn them because of their past mistakes?
That's really on other people. You know what I always say? It's none of my business what somebody thinks of me. It really isn't. I can't change them. That question is, how do you prepare returning citizens? Community service helps. And I'm telling you, it really does, from experience. When you get out and you start giving back, because you do not feel well about yourself when you get out of it. But and that's what we do. That's part of the treatment program that is written for post-incarcerations, is that part of it is community service, because you will feel better. You will meet beautiful connections. And when you're in an environment helping people, there are other people that will see you in a different light. And sometimes you need that encouragement, and you need, when you're first out, to be seen in a different light. And so it's very important that, but we do it at a slow pace, because you cannot overwhelm somebody that has done a lot of time. You have to be really, that's usually why I like to place in a facility that won't start charging rent right away. Maybe they have a month scholarship.
Right.
You don't want to put too much financial pressure. You have to remember, somebody didn't pay rent in prison. They didn't pay their light bill. All those they didn't pay a phone bill. I don't believe in overwhelming a client. That's just enough to set them off. And, I don't know, maybe they'll go use, maybe there's something. So at a slow pace, baby steps to go back into society. If you rush it and quote skip a grade, we don't, it's not recommended. But yeah, go and do something good. I like to go volunteer or whatever. And you will feel better about yourself. You'll be helping someone, but you don't realize how much that helps you.
You absolutely.
It helps your mind, and spirituality, whichever that is. I do not push it, but you do have to belong and believe in something. You do.
How important has your faith been for you? I guess throughout this process, even when you were in prison, how was that? I know you spoke about speaking to a priest and things like that. How was your faith? How important has that been for you?
It is very important. Every Sunday, I did attend the church services in prison for 3 years. And when I got out, I found that was helpful, that if I had a tough day, I really would go to the church and get on my knees and pray. And that's my decision to do. I found it helpful. I found it brought me peace, and I felt better after I did that. I like I said, I do respect everyone's religion. I think all different religions are beautiful, but I do encourage somebody to find some place where they go where they feel safe and there's help. Albeit a church, I don't care, Buddhism, Judaism, whatever you want, but find something to go to, because it will make a big difference. It really will. It will.
Yeah. Okay. Rainforest says, at Inspirational by Marie, how does this relate to you as a social worker? Yeah, so I am a social worker, Cynthia, if you didn't know. But yeah, I mean, I understand in terms of working with returning citizens, especially young people, to do with just getting them back on their feet and giving them that, being able to advocate as well. I mean, being able to advocate, because sometimes they may not have, they may not have gone to school. They may not know how to even write a letter. So we're just there literally to support that young person. Being advocate, really take time to make it personalized. Like you were saying, Cynthia, you cannot just, it's not a blanket for everybody. You have to look at everybody's, case differently, individualized and personalized. That is so important, because what works for one person may not work for another person. So it's important that you give that person that time. You sit down, you find out really what it is. You were speaking about, you can tell when someone has been in confinement, whereby when they have been, is it the 8th step or the 8th feet?
Yeah, the 8-foot horse stall pace, I call it.
Right. You can identify and pick up.
Right.
It's about making it personalized and individualized. And you mentioned so many times throughout the interview the word kindness, whether that was from the priest, whether that was from the inmates at the time when you were in prison, whether that's even through what you're doing. The word kindness is powerful. And I always say that kindness is really about going the extra mile. You can definitely be a nice person, but to be a kind person is actually a doing thing. It's going the extra mile. Is there a progressive re-enter program available for those returning to society?
Yes, the F8 Foundation.
What does F8 stand for, by the way?
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody, some people say fate, and I love that. And then many of my clients say, "Oh, here comes Miss Fate," and they're sweet gentlemen. But okay. F8 1017 was my state prison number. I always remember that. F8 on the keyboard is safe mode, MS configured safe, and F8 on a camera is clarity. So I kept with my F8.
I love, no, Cynthia, I love it. I love it.
That's why it's the F8 Foundation.
That is so awesome. I love that. Great concept. Absolutely.